Hi there guys, in this video I just want to run through how the full spectrum system scanner works. Now I know this was done a little bit ago when we had the changes to the expiration done in 3.3. However, since then I've been asked a few times to do a video just to explain it. I must admit, after actually looking at the help that they put in the game, it seems to be more confusing. So hopefully I can address that in this video and explain what it does and make it much more easier. So what we're going to need for this is a discovery scanner. So the discovery scanner was going to ping all the nearby stars and show us sort of just roughly where they are. You can get the discovery scanner pretty easy at most places, and with the changes there's just one type of discovery scanner now. But before we get into all this, we're going to have to set up some controls. Okay, so in the controls you want to head right down to the very bottom, and you can see where it says full spectrum system analyzer. So here we want to set a bind up to enter and to leave. I'm not too sure why it couldn't be a toggle. That would make more sense to me, but anyway. Next we need to set up a pitch and yaw. Now on this I'm using a controller, so for this I'm using the right stick, but obviously you can change it how you like. Next we need to set a zoom in and zoom out buttons. So again, I'm just using the shoulder buttons on a controller. Next we need to set up the tuning. Now for this you could set up buttons or use a joystick or so forth. I've just using the left stick on this example. And I think that's it for the time being for controls. So make sure you set all those up before you actually try. Now one thing I just need to switch over because I've got it in slightly wrong, is that we should be in this mode by default, and you'll see the difference is that where we've got a HUD we've got sort of a curved lines. Now what we need to do is to switch to analysis mode, and to do that we're going to have to set up a never bind if you haven't already done so. So this is under mood switches, and if we come down to the bottom you'll see a little option here to switch HUD mode. Obviously that isn't very clear, but make sure you set the bind up there. So once you've done that you can press the switch HUD mode, and you should see the HUD change from a sort of circular yellow bars to a blue kind of straight, and it tells you at the top right. Now this allows you to do all your scanning and so forth. So if you actually use the discovery scanner, you can see it's pinged the nearby area. So now you've used the discovery scanner, it's kind of detected that there's nearby things, but it doesn't know exactly what they are. Now if we go into our system map, you might find a few different things here. You might find it still pretty empty, you may find it incomplete, or you may find a complete map depending on the location and how many times it's been scanned. So the next thing to do is to use our spectral scanner. So press whatever key you've assigned for it. Once you do, you'll come up with something like this. Now this looks quite daunting at first, but I believe it's not that bad. At the very top right we can see we've got bodies. Now this says 2 out of 25, so this said we have already found 2 and we've got a total of 25. At the very bottom left we've got a percentage, and that's how much of the system we've explored. In the middle we've got a kind of target which we move with our camera pitch and yaw. Underneath that we have a kind of bar with squiggly lines and a white line. Now the white line is where you are at the moment. You move this by changing your tuning, whatever you set up for those controls. When you do, you can see the white bar has moved on to different bits. So at the moment it's set at gas giants, which you can see at the very bottom right. When you move this you can see it's changing. The squiggly lines in the bar tell you there is something in the system that is under that kind of type of signal. So if you move it to here you can see there must be a rocky ice world somewhere in the system, and as you change the tuning up and down you can see it changing. So basically select something that's in the area. You're best usually going around about 40% and selecting in that area, and then use your camera pitch and yaw and move your target in the middle. Now as you do you'll see these sort of flashing blue blobs. You'll also be given these little arrows that give you more of an indication there's something in that direction. When you move on to it you'll see a little circle. If your tuning's a kind of close or actually spot on. If your tuning's completely out, you'll just see a blue flashing thing. So change your tuning and try and get it right. When you do, if your tuning's a little bit out, you'll just see a little white dotted line. That means you nearly got it right, but just change your tuning a little bit. When you do and get it solid, do a zoom in, and sometimes you'll zoom into the planet, and this will basically do the scan and tell you what's on the planet, like the resources and so forth. Sometimes you won't zoom directly into the planet and you'll kind of get another map. The reason for this is that there could be 2 or more planets that are close together, and if you weren't to just trying to select them, you might have to move it so minor. So what they've done is made another kind of map, and you zoom in and out of those. So just repeat the process, looking for another sort of blue bob, and then adjust your tuning to get it right. And then once you've got it right, zoom in. And like I said, you can zoom in and out multiple times, obviously. So you, like I said, you might have a map within a map, so you might zoom in, and then need to zoom out and zoom out, if you get me. Like I said, as you start finding things, you'll see down the bottom that your wiggly lines will start to disappear. If you keep selecting the same thing, you will need to adjust it, and like I said, that's done by your tuning. And other than that, basically just keep repeating the process. It is not too complicated once you know what to do. It's just I found it very confusing in their explanation. So to summarize, basically all you're doing is moving a camera up and down, left and right, and then you're changing your tuning down the bottom to kind of find the right signal sources, and that is pretty much all you need to do. And zoom in and out, but apart from that, that is pretty much how the spectral scanner works. When it does a scan, it will basically find all the resources on the planet, and it give you a name for the planet and so forth. It won't do a complete scan. For those, you need a surface scanner, and you need to actually fly over there and fire some sort of probes into the planet. This basically explores the whole system, gives you all the names of the planets, and tells you what materials are on that planet. So it is pretty good. You can be any distance in the system, but you must be in the same system. You can't do it in a different system. And like I said, just work your way through, and as you do, you will find your progress down the bottom left keep increasing. So you can see as I start finding things, it's gone up to 57% now. And like I said, as you do, you will have to keep adjusting your tuning to find the different types of planets or stars in the system. Anyway guys, hopefully that's made a bit more sense of it. I've tried to explain it as best I can, and like I said, some people have been struggling quite a lot with this, and I can understand why. It's one of those things, once you understand it, it's not too big a deal, but getting past the explanation can be quite complicated, and hopefully I've conveyed that in this video. Like I said, anyway guys, I think hopefully that's helped you. If you were a bit struggling with this in exploration, you might have just looked at it and thought, screw it, not do it. But hopefully now that might shed a bit of light into how it works. Anyway guys, if you have any comments or suggestions, as always, please post them below. They're always greatly welcomed. I know this is just a short video, but I didn't want to go too detailed in this, just to sort of give you a quick idea. Anyway guys, I think that's it for this one. Take care and have fun out there.